Hello everyone, this is part 32 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Naruto had thought that it would be a good idea to see the Akatsuki ninja off personally, as a gesture of goodwill and to show that he didn't hold grudges. Of course, as they all stood at the fire countryside of the Great Naruto Bridge, himself flanked by Neji and his team, his eyebrow was slowly beginning to twitch. Conan looked more than a little frustrated while Naruto couldn't read Itachi clearly. Somewhere between bored and ready to leave irritation, they both were instead locked onto the man standing next to the blonde and refusing to move. Deidara had made it clear he was staying in Uzushio, having pledged himself to Naruto and reiterated this morning that he had meant it. While Naruto did feel a certain way about housing a known terrorist in his country, they were ninja. Alliances changed, yesterday's enemy was today's friend. That said, trusting the explosion user would be hard one for most. Not Naruto though. Anyone who could turn their chakra into explosions was alright with him. Think of the possibilities. Conan is over it, pain won't stand for this Deidara, you need to return with us. Deidara held up his arms in an X formation and shook his head, no can do. Like you said, we're more of a loosely held together band of mercenaries. Money or not, I've decided to leave. Itachi turned to Conan, keeping his eyes down and not giving anyone the idea that he might be willing to use his Sharingan here. He isn't wrong. Any one of us can pack up and leave at will. Yes, I realize that. But to leave in the middle of a mission. Deidara pointed at her dramatically, we're going to be allies anyway. You'll make sure of it, right? So it doesn't matter. Tell him I'm just making sure our interests are aligned during my stay here is all. Honestly, Deidara didn't care at all if Akatsuki allied with Uzushio or not. To work and learn from the genius seal worker and learn new ways to build explosions was a dream come true. He had once thought that he was the greatest artist when it came to utilizing explosives, but that delusion was long gone. No, he would stay, fight for it if he had to. I follow Lord Uzumaki now, I respect him. Conan couldn't fight that last comment. Most of the Akatsuki members didn't necessarily respect Pain as they did fear him, greatly. True and honest respect was hard earned in their line of work. Heaving a sigh, she turns to offer the still twitching Naruto with a tired smile, please do take care of the idiot. I'm sure he'll be a handful. Hey. Deidara's indignant cry went ignored. Naruto grinned, can't be any worse than me. Have a safe travel, and I'll be seeing you soon. Conan was beginning to turn away, I'll make sure Pain summons you as soon as we return. Bowing to him, she turned to leave. Naruto turned his eyes to Itachi for a moment, hey, Tachi. Seeing the older Uchiha turn to him with a curious look, Naruto shrugged, for the record, I think you and Sasuke have a lot to talk about. Danzo has been informative, to say the least. That got a rise out of Itachi, eyebrows nearly disappearing into his hairline, you've learned something, have you? Itachi couldn't fathom Danzo spilling information about anything of his own free will. Which meant Naruto must have gotten creative. You could say that. Naruto's eyes began to glow eerily. That said, if Sasuke asks me, I'm still completely on board with kicking your shit in. Noted. Itachi let a rare grin grace his face as he turned away. Stay strong, little brother. Following after a quietly curious Conan, the pair made their way back towards Rain. Naruto finally sighed and turned back to his own group, the crowds on the bridge parting around them without a word. Welp. Naruto's eyes turned to a giddy-looking Deidara while En and the rest kept a healthy distance. Let's get back, I'm sure En can help Deidara settle in somewhere in the city. And Neji, you and your team can report to the mission floor. I'm headed back to my office. En turned to older teen who looked ready to start bouncing on his feet, sir. Naruto grinned, I've got an idea of what to do with him, so for now set him up somewhere decent. Naruto turned his eyes to Deidara, you've got a few days off to acclimate yourself to Uzushio and our people. No explosions within city limits, at least, nothing destructive. I'll have missions for you in a few days, but I'll give you a call. You'll be watched, call it a probation. Deidara nodded quickly, undeterred, nothing is a hindrance in my quest to learn from you, Lord Uzumaki. Naruto nodded and turned to the others, then let's get to it, later. With a flash he was gone, leaving the group on the bridge to turn back towards Wave on their own. Neji could only sigh and wave Jin and Kana to follow him, while En tried to get the still giddy Deidara to follow him. Kana had other ideas, turning to Deidara and asking a question that had been on her mind ever since she had seen the guy. So, real quick, can I ask you something? Deidara turned to her, silly grin still on his face. Of course. Anything at all. If he could score points with some of the underlings, maybe that could build favor with Naruto. Kana looked purposefully down at his hands. Sir, do those ever get in the way of you know? She made a circle with one hand while repeatedly inserting a finger with the other. Cause a woman is curious. Faulting and nearly falling over, Deidara felt defeat crawl up his spine. Why is my sex life so important to everyone? Kana cackled as Neji turned bored eyes to her. Can't you be professional, like once? Kana waved it away with a smile. Don't worry Neji, I still only have eyes for you. I'm just curious. Hands like those, gotta be a girl's dream right there. They're for my art. If this kept up, he might just have to cut 'em off. Far away and settling back in his chair, Naruto was mentally preparing for how he was going to tie up as many loose ends as he could. He was resolving to go and train with the Toads not long after meeting with the Akatsuki leader, which meant he had a few weeks at best. As far as he knew, that meant he had to either put together a game plan for taking care of Kumo, or at least start the investigation. Kiri should be opening communications with them soon, which meant, as well if May was being honest, that they would be seeing the addition of 2 new clans. The Yuki clan was a somewhat known variable, and he would want to meet with them personally. The Zozansho was another matter. From the sounds of things, there weren't ninja per se, but shipbuilders. Would they want to settle here or in Wave? Did Azu have a need for warships? More things to worry and think about. Well, that's why he had friends and allies. No need to think about everything alone. That way led to madness and also meant less time for explosions. Settling in and getting started on a fresh stack of paperwork, making a group of 3 clones to help out as well, he looks up idly as Hinata is making her way inside his office. Another stack of papers in her arms, she offers him a smile all the same. Good morning Naruto-kun. Dumping the papers on his desk, she comes around to lightly kiss him on the cheek. Our guests have left then. Naruto grinned as the clones took the new pile all to themselves. Sorta, Deidara has pledged his loyalty to me and decided to stay. En is setting him up with an apartment. Oh good, he has good tastes. Hinata wouldn't speculate on whether he was a good or bad person. All ninja had their pasts. As long as he was willing to adhere to how they did things, they wouldn't turn him away. Plus he recognized Naruto's greatness, a major point in his favor. Anything else? Not yet, just ready to finish up some things so I can get the Toad training underway. I wanna be done well before Kotohime and Kyuki give birth. There was nothing in this world that was going to make him miss his children being born. He'd have to be dead. Nodding and looking around, Hinata gains a little smirk and leans down a bit, fingers tracing along her orange bikini top and pulling her jacket open a bit. Needs some under-desk support to make the day go by faster. Naruto finally took in her look, raising an eyebrow at the black jacket over chainmail and orange bikini. Is that my old jacket? You mean my jacket? Somehow he just knew one way or another, he would lose something important if he kept up that argument. How's the schedule look? Having fun sounds great, but it's pretty early in the day. He did rake appreciative eyes over Hinata's curvy form, enjoying watching her shiver and the naked want in his eyes. Hinata stood up straight as she thought about that. Well, Ino and Tayuya did say they would be coming by later. Tazuna requested another visit to the fortress as well. Karen and Honoka also said they might come by if they finished a project. Oh, and we got a call that Kyuki and Kotohime are on their way back for this afternoon. Saying it all out loud, Hinata realized that they had a busy day ahead of them. Guess this is no time for fun. Naruto reached up and took one of her hands into his softly, running a thumb over her knuckles. Stay by my side today so we can spend some time together. Sound good? Hinata blushed but nodded. Sounds wonderful. Giggling a bit, the happy girl skipped her way back to the secretary desk, a bright smile on her face while Naruto got back to work. Score 1 for me. Score 1 for you. You just gave up a blowjob. There's more to love than sex. Bar. You can have both, specifically you. You can always have both. Kurama grumbled as Naruto went back to ignoring him and doing his paperwork. Yeah, having fun in the office sounded great, but there was a lot to get done. Now, later on tonight. That was a different thing altogether. Time passes while Naruto and his clones joke back and forth while doing paperwork and bouncing new ideas back and forth between each other. 2 new clones were currently etching seals into the blade of the Kubikiriboko, under the watchful eye of another clone that had an open scroll in its hands. It is to this scene that Ino and Tayuya burst through the door, both cheery and in good moods. Hey Whiskers. We've got an update for ya. Ino spun her way to land in one of the provided chairs in front of his desk while Tayuya walked more sedately to the other. Naruto gave them his undivided attention, flipping his latest paper to his outbox and nodding that he was almost done for the day. What's up? So far the refugees from the sound base are acclimating easily to Wave and Azu, though it has been some slow going. Culture shock and all. Ino was sure most would fully integrate no problems. Others might take a little more time though. They had to have been through a lot, being stuck with Orochimaru's usual craziness. Naruto didn't stop the smile that spread on his own face. Sounds great. I'm sure Tsunami is ready to have a break though. Tayuya nodded. Yeah, she's putting together an escort for the group that has asked to be returned to Wind. There aren't a lot, but since they're our ally we want to make sure their people return safely. Sounds good. I'll send word to Gaara as well to expect them. Surely the young Kazekage would send a few ninja to watch over the Wind citizens. Anything else to report? Ino leered at him and stood to lean against the heavy desk. Since we did such a good job, I was thinking we could head upstairs and be rewarded with a hot and hard food. Hey everyone. We got stuff for us. Bursting in the doorway without warning, Karen and Honoka walk in, each with large and heavy-looking boxes in their arms. We're not interrupting, are we? Tayuya chuckled at the frustrated look on Ino's face. Oh, nothing that won't get fixed later. What's that there? Tayuya watched as Karen and Honoka both dropped their boxes next to Naruto's desk. Just some stuff that we've finally gotten around to finishing up with the Spring engineers and some of the Azushio engineers. Honoka was rooting through her box while Karen was making room on Naruto's desk, shoving his outbox aside but not off. Honoka came up with a bulky powder blue landline phone. Phone lines are up. Dropping it on his desk while Karen set about running a wire to a port hidden in the floor under said desk, Naruto had to back up a bit to let her work. So we can finally call the other nations without my having to flash back and forth now. Not that he would stop that. It was too much fun to pop in and scare Granny Sunid from time to time. Honoka nodded. As a new nation, it took a while for the civilians to hook up the related communication lines and other assorted networks. We're patched in now, since you've given the green light for us to go official. Hands on her hips, Honoka eyed his new phone. We're setting up a switchboard on the ninja level. All calls to you will be routed first through your secretary. Naruto nodded and tried to ignore that Karen was starting to get handy. Great to hear. Anything else? I twitching as Karen found something sensitive. He watched as Ino balled her fists tightly. Ino kicked the desk. Hey bitch, if we all have to wait, so do you. Karen grumbled but climbed out from under the desk all the same. So close. Or come on. We've been hard at work for days. Let's us have this. Seeing Ino and Tayuya shaking their heads, Karen pouted. No fun. Even still, she picked up the phone and made sure it had a dial tone before nodding resolutely. Phone works. Honoka shook her head as her partner walked back to the other box. We're still playing catch up on certain technologies because we decided to go it alone. But we'll have no problems catching up and surpassing everyone else now. Especially with help from Wave and Spring. Information was power after all. And being able to communicate quickly back and forth between Spring and Whirlpool would be godsend. Now that phone services are up and we have a radio tower going up at the Ninja Fortress, that means wide-scale broadcasting is soon. Maybe we can put together a video phone for you. Naruto considered that would make talks with the other Kage a lot easier. Though he was sure the likes of Kumo and Iwa would be more old-fashioned, wanting to meet up in person whenever they needed to talk. Naruto could go either way, but he still understood talking in person was always the better option. Bending over and going through her own box, Honoka begins tossing smaller handheld radios to everyone in the room, including Hinata, who had wandered her way in with all the commotion going on. With the basic radio station complete, smaller radios are being issued to everyone. These are mainly for work within our borders until we build up some better units for working abroad. But you can still use them for squad communication in the field. Tossing one to Naruto, Honoka gives him a grin. Naruto accepts his, a small blue box with an antenna and a cable that fed into an earpiece. We'll have to set up radio protocols and call signs. I'm sure you all will be taking either Riptide or Foxton monikers. Seeing all of the girls nod, Naruto sighs, I'll leave you to it then. Karen had left to attach a phone to the secretary desk, but was now making her way back into the office. It sucks, I wanted to see more of the Fujikas before it left, but apparently they're on their way back already. Karen had heard their plan at least. After some further testing and refitting, they would begin regular transport missions within the month. A small fleet, 10 in all, were already scheduled for construction. Honoka bumped shoulders with the younger girl. Oh, relax, I'm sure you'll get your fill soon enough when they return. But that'll be a completely different airship by then. It'll be a production model, not a test type. Ino sighed and sat on Naruto's desk, skirt riding up and giving her man a wonderful view of her thighs, all according to her plan. So radios are up. Broadcasting tower is next. Guess this means we're finally going to have TVS again. Tayuya rose her hands into the air to stretch and sigh. Sounds great. Moaning as something in her back popped audibly, she relaxed her stance. I'm sure the kids will love it. Ino wiggled her eyebrows at the brawler. I bet you get along with the kids so well because you're just a big kid yourself. Say that again, I'll take you out. Wanna get all hot and sweaty in Naruto's office, huh? Don't twist my words, damn it. Tayuya did in fact want to get all hot and sweaty in Naruto's office, but that was a different matter entirely. Tuning the girls' banter out, Naruto turned his chair to gaze out over the city. Face calm, he takes a moment to appreciate everything that it had taken to reach this point. From here on, the city was just about completely self-sufficient. Progress might be a little slower, but he wouldn't need to create untold amounts of clones for construction anymore. Turning back to the others before a wrestling match started up and clothes started flying, he cleared his throat to gain their attention. So, I'm not sure if everyone's up to date, but I'll be meeting with the Akatsuki leader soon. Seeing everyone sober up and nod at that, he continued on, after that, I'll be leaving for a bit to go train with the toads. Hinata is the first to speak up, seeing everyone's moods drop with the news, you'll train quickly but thoroughly, yes. Naruto nods, flexing an arm and grinning, I'll be back before you know it. Ino shook her head, it's gonna feel like an eternity without you here. Even if it was only for a few days. The idea of being separated for a month or more was agonizing. But at least she had all of her friends. They could all lean on each other for support. Tayuya mirrored her thoughts rather well, you better come back quick, we gotta stomp out Kumo, one way or another. Firmly agreeing with her, Naruto scans all of their faces and puts on a grin, I've gotta get this done now, before things get too busy and I lose the chance to do this. Naruto's eyes land firmly on Tayuya. That does lead into my next issue. Someone is going to have to be the face of Azushio while I'm away. Seeing where his eyes were going, the rest of the girls all turned to look at Tayuya as well. Tayuya noticed this, looking around frantically before pointing a finger at herself. What? Me? Are you insane? All of the girls were smiling at her genuinely and her heart begins to race. No. No way. I'm not cut out for this shit. Fuck that. Make Hinata do it. She was the clan heiress after all. Surely she had more training for this. Hinata is the first to shake her head. While I could lead, I'm not Uzumaki by blood. Sure, our people would not oppose me, but it speaks more deeply that it is you. Ino nodded, plus, a lot of the civilians know you. You're great with the kids and always take missions in the city to help out. Tayuya started to shake her head, seeing the conclusion of this coming already. No, I'm only good at fighting and breaking things, so I try to help out if I can is all. That's all. Karen giggled, all of the ninja respect you as well, more than a few of us have caught you training on your own at the South Shore, you know. Naruto nodded, I've watched in too, you're really strong Tayuya, I hope you understand that. Wanting to pull her hair and scream, she focused on the man she loved. I'm just making sure I don't fall behind. Seeing nothing but love and support from him, her shoulders begin to slump. Well shit. Chuckling as Ino walked forward to pat her on the shoulder, Naruto nodded. You're known as stern when needed, helpful always, and powerful. You're a good second in command as far as everyone is concerned. You'll do great. Seeing her finally nod and get hugs from the rest of the girls, Naruto grins. Don't worry so much. It's only till I get back. And think of all the people you get to order around. Tayuya did think about that. She could order Gosu and Isaribi on more joint missions, maybe get them to stop pussyfooting around their relationship. Oh, and she could commission that statue of Naruto he kept denying at the ninja fortress. There were a lot of possibilities suddenly. Well fuck. Fine. Dramatically she took a stance, raising her nose and pointing at Naruto. You better hurry back though. 'Cause if you take too long I'm going to ban ramen in the city. Sweating, Naruto shakes his head. You wouldn't wanna test that. I better not. I know better. Everyone laughing at that, Naruto relaxes back while the girls cheer Tayuya on while his clones worked quietly off to the side. Guess he really did have more incentive to come back quickly. Toads better be prepared to work hard. Only a day away from meeting their client, Team 7 camps out though the collective mood has dimmed. Sasuke had finally sat down and read the letter given to him by the Naruto clone, and to say that it was taking a lot not to fly back to Konoha and hunt down Danzo was an understatement. To think his family was killed because Danzo and Hiruzen were convinced the Uchiha were going to start a civil war, and Danzo convinced Itachi to kill everyone. Harvested Sharingan eyes from the dead. Sasuke could understand why Naruto thought it best to leave the village now. Sakura was doing her best to keep some of his darker emotions at bay. When we get back, I'll help hold the old bastard down. Not the healthiest outlet, but she was trying. After everything with first the Uzumaki clan and now the Uchiha, Sakura as well was done and over with Danzo and the Ninja Council. They were unsure if the rest knew about this particular Black Ops mission, but Kakashi cautioned that they most likely didn't know. Sasuke just sighed and leaned back on his hands, looking up into the star-lit sky as evening fell upon him. Damn it. This is so frustrating. Danzo stoked the flames of bitterness in my clan, used Itachi to kill them all, then harvested their eyes for his own gain. Wanting to tear his hair out, he appreciated Sakura laying a calming hand on top of one of his own. Dying just once isn't enough for that old bastard. I'm gonna have Naruto keep reviving him until I'm satisfied with killing him. Another scoff as his rant cooled off, Sasuke turned his eyes to the fire they had made. For Konoha's sake, the council better not have known about this. If they stood by and did nothing about it, that would mean both the Uchiha and the Uzumaki were sacrificed for the village. And for what? TSK should have taken Naruto's offer and moved to Izushio. Kakashi nods and surprises both of his students. For you being so young and so much having happened, Konoha doesn't make much sense anymore. Why stay? They took your family, tried to enslave your best friend. Whether it was the council's decision or not doesn't change the fact that it happened in our village. Kakashi understood how difficult it could be to reconcile feelings of being betrayed by one's home. Thoughts of his father and of Rin raged through his mind. So many deaths and betrayals. Sakura leaned into Sasuke, enjoying the arm that automatically came around her midsection. I'm ready to go with you whenever you are. I'd like to bring my parents along but I'll understand if they would rather stay. Tsunade might not be so understanding, but I think this might push her to leave as well, which is only good for us in the end. Plus that would include Shizune, which would then motivate Kakashi-sensei. It was wins all around for them finally. Sasuke nodded slowly, thinking about things he would need to accomplish first. I need to get back to the compound first. There are scrolls and information I need to dive deeper into. Maybe we can get Naruto to help me with that. That weird eye of his might help out. Some of the Uchiha texts could only be read with a more mature Sharingan. But one never knew, Naruto's eye had its own special properties that might help. Kakashi can't help but sigh, watching his two remaining students planning on defecting. Allied nation or not, I'm going to lose my last students then. Guess my luck really isn't all that great after all. Sakura waves his concerns away. I'll let Shizune know too. Hearing this, she'll leave with us in a heartbeat. And think, Team 7 will be all together again. Sure, they might not be able to run missions with Naruto often anymore since he had a village to run, but they could figure that out later. Sputtering, Kakashi eventually just hung his head. I never said anything about leaving the leaf. Both of his students give him level looks before turning back towards each other and continuing their planning session. I've been a leaf ninja all my life. I can't just uproot now. I'll be added to the new nin list no matter what. Sasuke tries not to be condescending, but fails a tad. We understand sensei, really. But Konoha and Azushio are allies. Maybe, in the interest of not starting a conflict, we could call it an exchange program instead. Kakashi frowns and braces his hands on his lap, and just who could Azushio send to Konoha in order to exchange for us? They were pretty much the strongest team currently on roster. Guy was close, but no one trained like these two. Giggling together, it was Sakura who shook her head and answered him, "No sensei, you misunderstand. Team 7 is going to Azu, in exchange for Azu not flattening Konoha." Sighing heavily, Kakashi should have known better. Listen. Let's finish this mission. We still have a long way to go and I hear our client is a bit hard to deal with. Sakura puts a finger to her chin as she thinks about the mission a bit. Think we can convince them to charter a boat from Wave instead. Could be a fun detour. Kakashi waves his hands. Nope, we have a plan we stick to. You both can sightsee and apartment shop later. Sasuke shrugs. Naruto transported the Uzumaki shrine from the land of fire to Azu. I'm sure he can do the same to the Uchiha compound. He'd have to remember to ask his friend about that the next time they saw each other. More pressing though, was how was he going to deal with Itachi now? On the one hand, he understands his brother a bit better, but on the other, his brother still tortured him and killed his clan. He wanted revenge, but there was a new element to it now. Maybe he could try talking, for once. With some horror, a feeling of intense dread began to fill his chest. Eyes going wide as he mentally realizes that indeed, like the others had teased him about, he's slowly becoming more Naruto. Naruto could admit that whenever Tazuna put his mind to something, Naruto somehow always ended up impressed. So today, with Kyuki and Kotohime at his sides, they followed behind that elder architect as he led them down along a wide hallway down into the fortress. No one else was in this area, focused on the upper floors and the interior work going on there. They could all smell the sea down here and wondered if this was an emergency escape route. Tazuna couldn't help himself of course and began to describe what had been going on. From here on I'm pretty much done, except for this last thing that I hope you approve. See, because we're a water nation, I was curious if we would build a navy, and with that in mind I started to think about where we would even put it. Out in the open would be a bad idea, but we didn't really have a way to conceal anything either besides that eternal fog you put up. So, we got to looking around and doorway ahead of them opening up, the smooth floor gave way to rough stone and scattered work lights. Watching the younger teens gasp as they look out upon the open space, Tazuna waved a hand out at the cove that they found themselves in. It was a very wide space, roughly 1,000 meters wide but only 500 meters deep. High above them was the stone ceiling of the mountain that was above them, and ahead of them was the entrance, a high and wide arch that would easily fit even the largest of Wave's cargo vessels. The space needs some work obviously, but we could turn this into a seaport and a shipyard for a military navy no problem given some time and effort. Naruto nodded, looking around the dim space while the waves crashed against the rocks. How did you find this? Tazuna chuckled and rubbed his neck. You can partially thank that water ninja of yours, Isaribi. She found it during her scouting and let us know about it. Total distance between here and the fortress is about 200 meters, and I think was can mine out some space and dig facilities and storage into the very rock itself. This is all pretty much bedrock. Tazuna motioned back the way they came, still grinning. Your clones would really make short work of this. Naruto nodded, though his earth affinity was weak, the direct opposite of his natural wind nature. He did however look to Kotohime and Kyuki. Sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Kotohime nods. A navy on standby would be prudent. We shouldn't rely on just our natural defenses after all. Kyuki has walked forward a bit to look down into the water, seeing crabs and small fish flitting among the rocks, plus, think of the other possibilities that open up. You can contract your navy to patrol the local waters. Keep pirates at bay and put the civilian ships at ease. Naruto considers that and nods. You aren't wrong. Okay. Naruto nods resolutely and thumps a fist into an open hand. How long do you think it'll take you to pull up a design and start construction? Tazuna was already holding a long roll of paper, already have something drawn up, actually. Welp, should have expected that. Naruto chuckled and turned to look back out towards the cove. This might work out perfectly. Some of our transplants from Kiri would probably find this perfect. Naruto thinks about the Zozansho clan though he had yet to meet with them. Hopefully the thought of a port and potential shipyard might entice them enough to stay. You're free to request help from any of the others whenever you wish. This is a priority. Tazuna can't help but grin as they all turn to head back towards the fortress. That's great to hear, boyo. Now, here he looked over his shoulder to watch them as he led the way back towards the fortress. You girls doing all right? I'm looking forward to more grandkids. Kyuki can't help but giggle while Naruto shakes his head. You have a grandson already, you old goat. The more the merrier. Speaking of, he's floating around here somewhere too. We should find him and see what he's up to. Tazuna was happy Inari was taking after him and learning the trade. He'd have to watch after the kid more closely soon. Maybe they could work on the port together. Kotohime leaned into Naruto as they returned to the surface. It is good to be home, my lord. Naruto wrapped arms around them both. It's good to have you both back with me. So, wanna make a date of it? Let's go get some food. Seeing both women nod, Naruto waved to Tazuna. Gotta get a move on, Tazuna. Give me a call if you need clones, okay? Sure, get going already. Seeing the boy tighten his grip on the girls and flash away, the older man shook his head with a smile. It was good to see kids act their age, healthy for them. Now to find my grandson and make sure he hadn't turned something upside down. Days pass and having returned to the land of rain and sent Itachi on his way, Conan now stood before Pain. Having explained everything that had happened and handed over the temporary Horatian seal to him, she waited patiently for what he had to say. While she had been nervous the entire time on the return journey, that had been tempered with the knowledge that she had been able to spend time alone with Itachi. The young ninja was still rather quiet, but she had coaxed him into opening up just a tad. Not enough for her liking. More work was needed. Nagato stared down at the tag in his hand, mind churning with ideas. So Deidara defected to Uzushio then. No matter. Apparently the Biju might not be needed at all. The Uzumaki had someone more useful already. I will meet with Naruto, go ahead and rest for now. He flatly ignored the glazed look that entered her eye as she bowed and left. Whichever poor soul finally gained her attention got a quiet prayer from him and not much else. Looking up, it took little effort to slip through the window and make his way to the rooftop, easily scaling the walls with chakra at his feet. Taking a moment to look out over the landscape, the long thin skyscrapers of rain looking like reeds, Nagato wondered briefly if it was possible for things to be different. He was beginning to doubt himself, going back and forth with what he wanted. Maybe talking with the boy would help him make a decision. Looking down at the seal in his hand, he fed it a small amount of chakra like instructed. He feels a spike of chakra before not far from him a blonde boy wearing black pants, a black jacket over an orange muscle shirt and black combat boots settled into a relaxed stance. Full Rinnegan meeting half, they both eyed each other quietly for a minute, considering what their move would be. Naruto however didn't have that normal patience, holding up a hand with a grin. Yo. I'm guessing you're Pain. I'm Naruto. Naruto remained as calm as he could, though mentally he reminded himself that this was a man that put fear into the likes of Deidara and Itachi. Even a twitch in the wrong direction could send things in the wrong direction here. So, time to feel this guy's mental state out. Nagato bowed his head lightly though his expression never changed. I am Pain. It is good that you've come as you agreed, young Uzumaki. Returning his gaze to his village for a moment, Naruto looks out into the distance as well, coming to the edge of the roof and whistling with some appreciation. It'd be cool to have some skyscrapers this tall in Uzushio. Maybe one day, huh? The future is as uncertain as the wind. Naruto nods. Conan tells me you dreamed of peace, once. Naruto turns a watchful eye to the older ninja. Your dream of peace really all done and gone? Nagato takes a moment to think about that. He was still fighting for peace, just in his own way, the only way left in this world. Myself and my friends dreamed of peace for as long as I can remember. Of ending the fighting in our home, of ending the wars and finding a better way. Our teacher instilled that hope in us. Naruto nods as Pain pauses in his speech. No one should have to fight, talking and reconciling is better. Shaking his head, Nagato continues to look out into the rain-soaked distance as his mood darkened. We grew strong, built up a following even. But the cold truth always has a way of finding you. Pain, suffering. No matter what we did, the cycle of hatred would always reign supreme. So I decided to forge a new path, the one true path that this world could understand. We could unite everyone, under one singular emotion. Naruto was beginning to get the feeling that there was no budging this guy. Something dark was rooted deeply in him. Didn't hurt to try though, what's that? Still emotionless, Pain nodded once to the city below them. Pain. Our banner wasn't enough, our strength wasn't enough on its own. But pain, fear, suffering. Everyone can understand those. Everyone who experienced enough of those never wants to fight again if they can help it. So, I've found the only true release from this cycle is to unite the world through pain. Here he finally turns to Naruto, through me. Pain. As the one true Kami. Wielding a weapon so destructive and devastating that no one would be willing to fight against it ever again. Naruto mentally nodded as his thoughts ranged true. Their ideologies really did differ too much. There are better ways to unite people. True peace, an end to suffering comes from understanding. From talking and accepting others. Fear, death, pain. You're just going to build resentment, nurture more hate in people's hearts. It won't last. He believed that as well, but getting Pain to see that was a different matter. He had come hoping to find someone of a more like mind. They both had the same end goal, sure, world peace. But they both had a different idea of just how that was going to be accomplished. And they both were willing to do a lot to make it happen, Naruto feared. Pain finally nods, eyes focused on Naruto. I believed that way once. Had even fought under that banner for a long while. But one day soon, even you will come to see things my way. Here Pain held out a hand to Naruto, and when you do, I'll be here and we can spread peace to this world. Together. The boy was simply naive. But time would change that. It always did. Naruto shook his head, matching gazes with the other Rinnegan user. I hope not. That amount of suffering that might have to happen to make me change my views might unleash something truly horrible. Maybe that is what the world needs. If that is what the world needs, it'll only end in fire and death. Death and rebirth are all parts of life, Naruto. Pain turns back towards the city. If it all has to be burnt down and rebuilt anew, so be it. So casual. Naruto finally let some emotion crawl into his voice, contempt lacing his words like acid. So much for finding a new ally here. To speak of ending the world and killing potentially millions. Was life truly so unfair to you? Pain doesn't answer him right away, face still carefully neutral. Everyone has hopes that life will be kind to them. Fair. It rarely is in the truest sense. But Kami. Pain. I am here to remind them that life is just, if unfair. That their lives are but playthings for the powers that be. I am here to unify everyone in a true manner, not by the shell games and proxy wars that have been used up until now by the old ways of the major villages. A head turns towards Naruto, taking in the boy's disgusted face with a small grin. I truly do hope that your way of doing things works out for you. That you get what you want out of life. But, if not, you'll come to me then when that day arrives. Naruto shakes his head. If a day ever comes that I lose all hope, I'm sure you'll be the first to know. Whether they both acknowledged it or not, there was too large a divide between them. They may not like it, but there would most likely never be an alliance between them. Naruto believes love and hope will save the world. He had fought for that, built his family around that mantra. Spared Konoha because he believed the people deserved a chance, even if those in power were corrupt. Because he wanted a real peace to bloom. But Naruto could tell. Pain saw that there was too much ugliness in the world, in humanity's heart. They couldn't be saved, and the world would either need to be beaten into submission, or cleansed. Pain would rule with fear, the antithesis of Naruto himself. Turning away, Naruto offered one last look at the older man, blue eye focused and sharp over his shoulder, a warning then. Pain nods, say what you will Uzumaki. The remaining 5 bodies of his 6 paths arrive, alighting on the rooftop behind him. Naruto gives him a wide grin full of oddly sharp teeth. You ever march on Azushio, and I'll be putting your claim of godhood to the test. Got it. Another step, and there was no flash. Naruto simply vanished from sight. Pain frowned as in his hand the temporary seal burned away into nothing. So that was the ruler of Azushio. Sighing and turning away, directing his remaining bodies back down into their storage tubes, Nagato himself smiles. The boy would come to him eventually, now that they had talked. He was too much like himself at that age. Too hopeful. Too willing to charge into danger. No. Naruto was young and naive and either couldn't, or most likely refused to see the truth that was right in front of him. But given some time, Naruto would see things his way. The world always made sure to do so. Appearing back in his office before a surprised Hinata who had been in the middle of talking with Tayuya, Naruto sighed and leaned against his desk for a moment. Taking a deep breath and holding it, he counted to 30 before releasing it in a slow exhale. Hinata came to his side, gently touching his shoulder. I'm guessing it did not go well. He didn't look like he had been in a battle at the least. Naruto shakes his head. Akatsuki is going to be a problem, later at least. I don't think I have to worry about them coming after me though. Hinata nods. That's reassuring. Turning and motioning to Tayuya, Hinata brings up the conversation. There's been a development while you were away. Mentally shaking it off, Naruto focuses on the here and now. What's up? He'd spend some time worrying about pain later. Tayuya sighed and handed him a sheet of paper. A foreign ninja is near the border, but refusing to actually cross into wave. They keep flaring their chakra though, like they're trying to call someone. We wanted to wait for you to make a decision on what to do with her. Naruto looked at the paper, taking in the picture of the blonde wearing purple and gray armor. He wasn't too surprised by the Kumo headband. I'll deal with her. Ah, the Matatabi finally shows herself. So she is the other Kumo Jinchuriki then. Yup. You're most likely in for a fight to the death. Naruto nodded and waved the concerned girls away. I've got just the thing for someone like her. Isaribi has made sure no one has returned to that volcano island where we found Honoka, right? Tayuya nods. Yeah, besides your clones, no one has been there. Naruto grins. Good. He was stressed, more than a little pissed off, and ready for a fight. I'll go meet her. If we suddenly vanish, just assume I'm going to smack her around a bit. He leaned in and kissed both girls gently. Don't worry, I won't kill her. I have my own way of putting her down gently. Hinata can't help but worry, but nods all the same, so long as you're smart about this. Tayuya nods. You will be smart, right? Naruto gears up to flashing away again. Yeah. I will, that's a promise. Believe it. Yeah. He'd be letting off some frustrations. Might be a little unfair, but oh well. Kumo has it coming. B. High above Konohagakure on the Hokage monument, Naruto looks down on the village she had been working in. Triggered by a seal and created to kick Danzo around for a while, she wondered at what she was going to do. She could dispel, ending her mission and her existence. But was that what she wanted right now? Reaching into a brown bag nestled next to her, she pulled free a small package of dango from a pile of other foodstuffs and treats. Spearing one of the sweet treats with the provided skewer, she popped it into her mouth with a moan of delight. There were foods this sweet. Not just fruit, but things humans made too. Oh, it was wonderful. Of course, this body of hers didn't need food, all of it was converted to chakra almost immediately inside of her, but she didn't mind. She could taste it and it did give her a bit more time in the world with the added chakra. She wondered, briefly, how she would bring this up with Naruto himself. Her mind was a weird mix of personalities, but she had more time to experiment with who and what she was. She knew what had created her, but her relationship with the real Naruto was more complicated. Oh well, she would worry about her existence and her purpose later. Finishing off her dango and tossing the container into a waiting trash bag on her left, she wondered about what she should do next as she fished out her next tryout food. A dragon fruit this time. Was she supposed to peel it? Maybe she could travel a bit, head north maybe. They hadn't been to Waterfall before, and beyond that, Iwa needed a visit from them. Well, from the original maybe. If she went, a lot of people would die. She had no need for controlling her more sinister mindset after all. It was part of who she was. Part of the set, so to speak. Light and dark, yin and yang, all things sought balance. Biting into the fruit, she resolved right away that the skin was not to be eaten. Spitting and ridding herself of the horrid taste in her mouth, she pouted as she removed a kunai and instead cut the rest of the fruit in half. It sucks not knowing things. How do humans put up with this? Exposing the grayish flesh of the fruit, she cut some free and popped it into her mouth. Ah, that was much better. Oddly, she wondered as she felt another pull of a Horatian seal. That was the third one today. The original certainly was busy. Dancing a bit in place and savoring her food, she decided that yes, going north was the plan. She didn't need to be in Konoha anymore. She had left Danzo, or what was left of him, barely alive and easily found at the Uchiha compound. She was sure Sasuke would love that present. Maybe. Hopefully. She wondered what sex was like. She'd have to give that a try as well, both with women and men. Sasuke and Sakura were her friends, right? They wouldn't mind. Wait. No. Some part of her rallied against that. Love her. So she needed to find someone to love first. Humans were so complicated. Eyes shining red for a moment as she tossed the empty fruit husks into her trash bag, she gazed out over Konoha and the steadily building evening. Maybe she could give Granny Tsunade a visit before she left. They loved her, right? No, that part of her rallied against the idea as well. So frustrating. But oh well, maybe she could find a bounty or two to fight while on the road. That might be fun. Standing and sealing her bags away, Naruto took a running leap and tossed herself off of the fourth's head and gathered the wind around her. Clothes fluttering and hair whipping about, she was soon carried by the wind up and over the village. Waterfall better be fun. She'd hate to get stabby once she got there. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.